I was about to do the thing, then you laughed.
Sorry.
We're currently making a game about stylish phantom thieves sowing discord amid a baroque sci-fi nobility. Welcome to Roll on the Adventure. Roll on. Roll on the adventure.
Gently down the stream.
Oh my gosh.
That was better than some.
Yes, that is definitely true.
Right then. So where were we? We have quite a few ideas of what our fashionable thieves might be up to. They're going to be raiding the gathering places of the rich for their MacGuffins. They're all going to be the person that they're stealing from, the item, and the court are going to be each represented by a tarot card of the major arcana. What about the characters? How are we going to represent them? So, what are we thinking? What's going to be on a character sheet?
I think one thing that's very important is coordination. And one idea I had for how coordination could be is, of course, an outfit, like your character's outfit is kind of made of many different things. And, you've got it's an armor set. And one thing coordination could be is basically how good your character is at taking seemingly disparate pieces of clothing and making them a cohesive whole. And one of the benefits of having a higher coordination stat is you could take, I don't know, leather slacks and cotton armor and somehow make that work as an outfit. And I think that would allow the reward.
So it's like kind of passing it off as something it's not.
And the reward would be that way, because you know how in MMOs you worry about the stats rather than how it looks, and the end result can be sometimes the players look really weird. Well, the benefit of coordination is that they should look really weird, but somehow they really pull it off.
So how does that work mechanically?
Basically, maybe some things are incompatible, so they take a penalty if you wear them together, and if you have a higher coordination, you reduce the penalty. Or
so how are you thinking of like wearing things? I mean, because it sounds like we've got like a big list of clothing or something.
I assume that would be the case for a typical RPG, because you have armor set. Oh, I get it. You know how there are different armor sets, hide armor, etc., etc. Just allowing you to mix and match, essentially.
In most games, that's because you have different armored classes and so forth, though. In this, so far, it's felt a bit lighter, so there's not, from what we discussed so far, it doesn't feel like there'd be much distinction between plate armor and leather beyond description.
Another way to do it then would just be a simple coordination gives you a bonus to your outfit, whatever benefits they provide.
So it kind of gives you more latitude in what you can describe. Like if you've got good coordination, you can, I'm wearing this. It sounds ridiculous, but I make it work.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So I'm thinking, like, do people have like a primary style?
Yeah, you're supposed to be like dashing thieves and so on.
Yeah. So maybe like coordination might be more like adaptability.
That's a good. I think that's a good way of putting it.
So you can blag wearing something that you're not comfortable in. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I think so.
Oh, so do you think maybe tying back to the costume outfits we had before, you might have a character who your preferred outfit is normally one of those 5. If you wear it, you get double bonus or something.
Yeah.
If you have high enough of this stat, you can wear more outfits and gain more bonus with a wider variety.
How is that different to just spreading your points out, though? I'm thinking kind of like, the maid powers, where each you pick a specialty, like
Oh,
coordination. You know, you make crazy combos work, which allows you to do something like once in the game you get to change your dice in the planning between the planning phases without taking the penalty.
so there's kind of a number of stats, each one of which has a super power or special thing associated with it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I mean, if you had like the fabulous power, you could have. Ooh, maybe the power is based on your biggest stat.
Yeah.
What do you think? So there's like 5 different abilities, and like you get to. They're based on. Okay, so like if you've got like the ridiculously flamboyant sort of one, then maybe like every time you do like a round of going in and you know pacing the joint, etc. Every time you do like a social engagement, one of the times you roll gets to have exploding like 9s as well as exploding 10s because you just kind of overpower it.
I guess that
Yeah,
could
because you're
work. I'm
just so damn showy.
Yeah, and like if you've got the sort of adaptable one, then you don't you can sort of not lose dice one like from one pool when you move them into another.
So what we got so far: flamboyance, adaptability. What was the first one again?
It was coordination.
Okay, do we want to pin down all the ones we want now?
I mean, like something like eye for detail, like basically means that like your dice pools never get reduced below like 1 die or something.
You
Okay,
can
so-
always at least
How many of these do we want was the question.
I think 5 is a good number. I think Maggie was right on that.
Okay, so coordination, eye for detail. What was the other one you just said?
Flamboyance and adaptability.
Flamboyancy. What else? So we really want one more, I guess.
Yeah, so we got coordination, adaptability, flamboyance, eye for detail, and I don't know.
Sleek. Sleek or
What's that?
suave. Sleek or suave. Because it seems we have adaptability and we have coordination, which are basically the opposites of each other. So have something that's complementary with but opposite to flamboyancy. So
it's like imitating,
well,
like
almost.
blending in.
Yeah. Because when I think the opposite to what's big and flamboyant and like massively colorful, like a peacock, is something that's suave. Black suits and ties and that sort of thing.
I'm thinking blending in might work. Like
I mean, blending. You
No,
could just call it suave, but it could have that
Yeah.
ability.
So it's like you're remember you're blending in with like a crazy baroque nobility.
Yeah. So suave it could serve that purpose and all, but it just has that name. So I
Yeah.
think suave is a better name than blending in.
Yeah. So we got coordination, adaptability, flamboyance, suave, and what was the other one? I did say another, didn't I?
adaptability, or did you?
I've got adaptability.
Adaptability, coordination, suave, flamboyancy, and then there was another one. Cred.
Yeah, I genuinely can't
Eye for
remember. Eye for
detail.
detail.
But yeah, so do we think those are good ones, or do we want to switch them out?
I think I like the system we've got going where some of them, a few of them are opposites of others, so it gives more idea of paths the player can go down.
Yeah.
Kind of obvious builds with, if you're good at that, probably not good at that.
Yeah.
Okay.
So basically, coordination is about taking something and just making it work.
Mm-hmm.
Adaptability is sort of changing on the fly, or basically being outside your comfort zone kind of thing. So for like maybe you get to use, I don't know, it's like use your adaptability instead of another stat, maybe. Okay. Now the question is, like, how do we bring those into play? Like, what are we going up against?
Yeah, now's a good time to talk about challenge.
So, like, what comprises a challenge? So yeah, maybe the fact that like the Duchess is paranoid or something like that, or they've got like some like a bunch of like jealous hangers on in their inner circle that don't want to let anyone else in.
I think those could be examples of essentially the traps that happen between the thing and the thing. You could have categories, and then based on the minor arcana that is drawn, you could say, there is a bunch of jealous hanger-ons. This is a social thing, or
I think most things are going to be social things, to be honest.
I mean, you could still have like a lot of mechanical things, like environment. So there are a lot of cameras, there are lasers, that sort of thing.
But the solutions tend to be social ones.
Yeah, so you can still have social solutions. Like, I imagine one of the things you could do with Suave, for example, is like, there are lasers. I use Suave to like do a dance scene over the lasers. Like, that's the kind of thing I imagine you could do.
I'm thinking also, so like Suave is about fitting in, like being at home. So like maybe if they've got cameras, you just go, you just pretend like you're doing what you're supposed to be doing, and no one questions you.
You just look like you're so naturally doing it. Everyone's just like, oh yeah,
it's supposed to be there. Yeah.
I also think sort of, if you sort of think of James Bond, who, years of cinema have trained me to think of when people say suave. He's sort of the way he's sort of charming is he sort of compliments people in a way that makes them feel better about him. So I sort of think that's where Suave is going, where you're sort of ingratiating yourself so that you feel like a natural part of the dynamic rather than the center of attention, which is flamboyance.
Yeah, totally.
Flamboyance, you're flipping the table. Suave, you're making people convinced that you've always been part of the table.
Yeah. I think that's good.
Okay, so how would it be represented? Because we want to use dice for this mechanic, so I'm just wondering, like, how... Let's try and describe how a challenge would work.
So I'm thinking, we describe the challenge, people say how they're kind of come up against it. The group assemble a dice pool.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, presumably I'm guessing D10s.
I'm thinking D10s.
Okay. Yep, D10s.
And then they roll, and all the successes go on top of the card.
And if they get a certain number of successes, they beat the thing?
Yeah.
Okay, yep, I can be down with that.
I'm thinking the easy way to represent that is you flip the card over.
Yep.
And any extra successes you can use to turn it into an asset.
Yeah, or I don't know. Do you guys think having assets while you're essentially going through the place should be something that happens, or should it be limited to the planning phase?
I think it should be all the time. You can use them whenever. But I think the idea would be that the GM in secret writes down what the values on each card are, how much it's going to take to overcome them.
Yeah, no, definitely. It'd be the kind of thing where it's like, okay, this card is this value, and presumably it gets more difficult.
And the players don't know until they've, beat it, basically.
Could we use a minor arcana for that? There's some face down minor arcana that set the difficulty, the number of successes, so the GM...
I'd rather it be a pool of points the GM can spread out.
Also, just so it's not the GM purely picking it up. It is some kind of...
Like the GM gets like 20 points to split between them.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm just wondering what would stop the GM from just putting all 20 points into the first obstacle.
Because what would happen is the players would eventually get over it, and then start stacking, tokens on it.
And also it'd be a bit boring.
Yeah.
Players are just, you endlessly run against this door until you...
Yeah, but you always have to think of a mechanical thing before you think of DM stop being an ass thing.
I don't know. I think just trusting your GM not to be shit is probably actually legit here.
Fair. I'm always of the thing of pretend they are going to be a dick until otherwise proven.
Yeah. I mean, you could put a limit on how many you can put into one thing.
I like that idea. So
what I'm thinking also is the number of dice you can stack onto something as an asset is equal to the number it took to get rid of it in the first place.
Oh, it was a max.
So it's like a cap. So, like, if you get rid of a massive thing, you can turn it into a massive asset if you do it early enough.
Yeah.
So it's trying to work out, what you're going to aim for. So I was thinking, like, players get to split dice, right? So you go in, you have a certain number of dice to split at each phase, and then you get to replan, right?
I suppose, yep.
So are we going to put anything on, like, specific problems that mean they're better approached in a certain way, like better with one start, like maybe weak against one, strong against another?
That would help to make it a bit more interesting and differentiated. Yeah, so you guys go deal with that because you're good at it. We'll deal with this. We're good at
Yeah.
that.
So yeah, they've got a weak versus and a strong versus, and I'm thinking it should be obvious from the description, but you don't find out, like, actually until you do it. If that makes sense. You're not formally told it until you've actually done it. I like the air of mystery. I'm not sure. I think some of it might end up with too much second guessing the GM. So in second thought, that's probably a bad idea.
Yeah.
Oh, second guessing the GM's going to happen anyway.
Yeah, a little bit. I don't know if it's good in this situation, though. Let's scrap that for now and say the weak and strong are going to be a bit obvious.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, like, like the whole, like, eagle-eyed security guards, or like security sort of abhuman sort of things, would be kind of like flamboyance is weak against them, whereas suave is strong against them. Maybe like a secret society, eye for detail might be strong against them. Adaptability is probably not, or coordination is probably not. Something like that.
Yeah, those ones make sense.
Yeah. So each thing has a number and something it's weak against and something it's strong against.
That's simple and that'll be easy to remember.
Yeah, I'm thinking there's probably going to be like 7 or 8 of these on the board, each with different numbers. There's going to be a couple of them in each scene. You'll know in advance which ones are. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool. So each problem has a description, something it's weak against, something it's strong against, and a dice total.
Yeah, so basically, yeah, that's enough stats.
So also, what I'm thinking is, when you're rolling against this thing, you stack ones up as well,
Okay.
and that they can lead to it being a problem. Thinking if you get too many failures or something, maybe it gets worse. I'm not sure.
Or maybe just another complication is added, so another.
Yeah, like, or maybe it buffs something something else in the next phase, something the players haven't necessarily interacted with.
So, what? Because at the moment it sounds like it's kind of a countdown until you win. Effect. Are we thinking that that you can actually run out of dice, or there should be a proper loss condition?
I think there definitely is a loss condition. You've got a boss to overcome at the end,
Oh, true. We've not got onto that.
and like the main villain is going to have some numbers,
And some style of their own.
Yeah, and probably a style of their own.
I like that idea.
Yeah, I think definitely. Maybe every time you get ones, you kind of build the villain's pool a bit.
Oh yeah, that one, because it doesn't screw you too badly now, but by the time you get to the end.
Yeah, I think that kind of works. It also means, like, having, say, adaptability, being able to erase ones is a good thing.
I think so.
Okay. Now, what do players get to bring to bear in each round? Then they've got their stats. I'm thinking you dress for like a couple of stats at any one time.
Yeah.
And those are the dice that you get to bring to the table. And obviously, coordination might let you like move to a different stat or something like that. maybe adaptability lets you change stat, and maybe coordination. I don't know if it just lets you bring another stat. I don't know how broken that'll be. You've generally just got more dice. Could be a bit broken. Yeah. Or maybe you just don't take as much of a penalty for splitting them or something.
That's what I'm thinking. That would be a better idea, maybe.
Okay, so let's work through a hypothetical example. Okay?
All right.
So we've got these eagle-eyed guards. You're trying to steal a famous painting. And we're going to go for I think like the Red Queen, the Queen of Hearts from Alice in Wonderland. The whole off with their heads, kind of like crazy over the top, flamingos and stuff in space. And you're there for a croquet party. And you've got these like eagle-eyed guards who seem to be wearing armor made of card, and so you're suiting up for this. I've got a number in front of me which represents the guards. I've got what they're strong against and what they're weak against.
Okay.
So they are against, and they're strong against. Sorry, I'm just writing this down. Do you kind of what would you be bringing to the table? Like in terms of like dice pulls. What are you thinking? Like, what sort of would you just pick two stats and describe how you dress to get those two stats out?
So I thought the initial idea was that you would dress up, and that would kind of be your loadout until you change otherwise.
Yeah. So it's your loadout for this entire chunk.
So, some kind of.
I think it's difficult to do this at this point.
Just spitball numbers. You can't be wrong.
I think probably just a 1 to 10 system gives a nice, easy kind of grading scale where 10 is you're really good.
Yeah. So you've got 1 to 10 in every stat. Let's say.
My question is how it's going to work, because we're going with loadouts, presumably, and those give you your stats.
Pick two stats. You're dressed to bring out those two stats, or to exemplify those stats.
I'm assuming that the competing stats would be mutually exclusive, so you can't be suave and flamboyant.
I personally think we should allow that, just because otherwise it gets a bit weird.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It makes some stats better than others if you can't combine them.
There'd probably be the kind of suggested default and easier to imagine, but you can still be good at both. It's just a bit.
Yeah. I mean, if you're going for like flamboyant and suave, it's you're dressed in a exact kind of what the other people have got, but kind of heightened. Or you've got accessories that let you kind of rule the roost, or yours has got a lot better beading than everyone else's. Yeah.
Okay, so I'm going to go classic, and I'm going to go for a black suit and tie with one of those very fancy masks, like masquerade ones.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
And I'm going to go for suave and let's say adaptability.
Cool. Yeah. So you're taking your pull for this session is going to be adaptability plus suave. Yep. For this section.
So how do we know what the number of the dice pool is the question, because that's kind of what this all hinges upon, and it's also the bit I'm the most confused about.
Okay, so we're gonna now you've got your number. There's gonna be the guards. There's gonna be I'm thinking there's the squabbling courtiers that could get in the way.
Okay.
So the squabbling courtiers are another
opponent. Well, another
opponent.
Challenge to overcome.
And there's this weird maze that she's got in the garden. That is gonna be the actual garden party element of this. So there's the weird maze which is gonna stop you getting into the house, or at least stop you doing certain things.
Okay, so presumably I want to encounter that complication and try and resolve it.
Right, so there's 3 complications. There's the guards, there's the courtiers, and the weird maze that are in play in this section.
Right, so
Yeah.
I can make a choice.
So you split those dice between those 3 things.
I'm going to go for the guard. And so here's the question. How many dice do I have? 10?
Well, what's your suave plus adaptability?
Adaptability.
What's your suave plus adaptability?
Okay, this seems arbitrary. I'll just say 7.
Yeah, I mean it's fine to be arbitrary. We're just doing a quick run through.
Okay, I have 7.
And in terms of card gen, you probably have a number of points to split between these.
Average of 5 each.
That's what I was confused about.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. So let's say 7.
Okay, so you've had to pick stats you're not great at. Fair enough. Right. So split them between those however you see fit.
So let's say, for simplicity, 3 to the guards, 3 to the courtiers, and 2 to the other thing you said.
So I'm thinking that with the weak and strong, we're gonna have to know where all those dice come from. That's not gonna be a problem at the moment, but it might be later.
Yeah, we could just say like, you could represent it with different colors of dice essentially. So I just say,
I mean, we could just do it like so. You're not.
Let's go favorable circumstance.
Yeah, you are currently not putting anything that interacts badly with badly or well with the guards in.
Presumably, I don't.
No, you're not. I know you're not.
I'm not. So I'm not. Sorry.
Cool. I've got this written down, and I'll reveal it when it becomes appropriate.
Okay.
That makes sense. So next, who's next? And is putting numbers in. Maggie or Chris?
We've got so I need to take 2 stats.
Yeah.
I'm gonna say eye for detail.
Yeah.
And flamboyance.
Cool. So that's say a total of 10, maybe.
And okay, I'm going to split them evenly. I know that sounds.
Yeah. So you got 5 and 5.
Yeah.
So out of the 3 things, where are you putting your dice?
Oh, what? Wait, out of the 3 things. Sorry, remind me.
You've got your 2 stats, so a total of 10 dice.
Yeah.
So what dice are you spending where? There's the guards, there's the squabbling courtiers.
Oh, I
and there's
get
the
it.
weird
So
maze.
how many dice do I have?
10 total.
And there's the guards.
There's the guards, the courtiers, and the weird maze.
I'm gonna put 4 on the weird maze, and 4 on the weird maze, and 3 apiece on the other 2, the guards and the courtiers.
Are the ones from flamboyance going onto the guards?
Yes. No, actually, no. I'm going to put the flamboyance on the courtiers.
Curses, because that would. Can we pretend you did it the other way around?
Yes. Okay.
Because so just for the purposes of illustration, so at this point you'd find out that the guards are weak against flamboyance because they're easily overawed. They're kind of weak-willed.
Okay.
So so basically you've terrified them a bit. So that makes that 4 dice instead of 3. So you get an extra 1 basically
Because you're using their weak.
the stat they're weak against.
And for funsies, I did actually roll. I got a 1, a 10, a 7, and a 2.
Okay. Well, what I was gonna do is we'll assign Chris's dice somehow first.
Yeah, so as you say, I had suave and eye for detail,
Cool.
and was really badly loaded out for this one, so only had 6 dice.
Cool. So 2 in each.
Oh, yeah,
Okay.
nice and evenly.
So yeah, they're not. You've not found out what the guards are strong against yet, but you have found out what the. I'm thinking that I should reveal that at the beginning. We do a bit of role play. I'm going to be giving you some hints as to the strength of each thing. So now you've found out that the guards are actually strength 8, which is quite high. So now you've got the chance to replan. But if you replan, you'll lose a dice.
Yeah.
I don't think we need to in this case because we put how many?
You've got a total of 9 dice
Yep. So
on the guards.
that's fine.
So yeah, we're gonna roll those 9 dice and see how this comes up. So you're not gonna replan at all?
No.
Nope.
Cool. Right. I'm gonna roll these. You got no. Oh god, you got 4 10s and no zeros.
Ah,
Yeah.
Only okay. So I was going for 7 pluses as successes. The lowest dice you rolled was a 5. You have a ludicrous number of successes. You have 8 successes, and then your
Okay.
10s explode. For two more successes and 1 1. Oh wow, that was a crazy good roll. So you have successfully managed to turn the guards against the queen.
Villa Revolution.
So they flip off.
Yeah.
That flips over. It reveals like maybe like a 3 of swords or something like that. Yeah. So
Yeah.
now you know what that card is. Any extra successes get lost, and then now you can start stacking, dice onto that later
To build up.
to turn them into an asset.
Yeah, to build up the guards being loyal to us or whatever.
Yeah, like
Just on the narrative.
or at least what you're pretending to represent.
Yeah.
Just okay. That's worked out quite well. So I think there's definitely a chunk of system there.
Hmm.
I like the idea of losing extra success, like excess successes, and starting again from a clean slate, because I think it means that massively overpowering something becomes a bit of a risky business.
But it does also mean
Yeah.
you can build up successes for later, but kind of not up in a crazy amount.
Yeah, you can do it in multiple things, but are you going to get chance? Because the GM's going to work out what's in each social engagement. I'm thinking you don't know you've got you can probably know what's in each social engagement before you turn up.
yeah, that's I think the scouting thing.
Hmm.
Maybe we'll see. I think it's quite possible that you'll have an idea, at least. Maybe the first time they show up, you might not know what they are.
If you do want to keep the scouting thing, it could maybe be.
I don't think I'm good. I do.
Yeah.
I think finding like this is the scouting bit.
Hmm.
It's just more immediate than what I thought it was.
Yeah.
Which is fair enough.
It's more like it. I like the idea of making you have to replan.
I like the idea of replanning, but I think it's just this is a more compact version.
Adaptability means that you can with one of your once you can just, or maybe you pick some way of ignoring the strong against, basically.
Maybe
Yeah.
I don't know. It seems weird for the stats to have abilities.
Yeah, like they'll have a power each, like the maid powers.
When would that power activate and how often?
I don't know how often you should be able to use them.
That's the thing. It's okay for them to. Well, maybe it's okay for them to have powers, but I'm not sure how often those should activate and how many dice they should activate upon.
So I'm thinking powers should affect one pool.
Okay, but then how many?
And then one pool of dice once it's on a card.
I don't know.
Part of me wants to say that those abilities should be specials.
Well, yeah,
The stat should just be stats, numbers.
Yeah. You pick one. You pick your highest stat. That's your power. If you've got 2 the same, then you pick one of them.
Those two.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think that's good because it gives an incentive for people to take different powers.
Okay, we can try it that way and see if it works.
Yeah. So what do you reckon? We'll start at an average of 6 between the 5 stats. So you got 30 points to spend between these 5 stats. That's your character gen. What do you think?
60.5 stats.
Yeah, it seems to give you a decent amount of potential variation.
Didn't we say the max for each stat was 10?
Yeah, up to 10.
So 60, presuming
30.
a 1-to-1 ratio. Oh,
30.
30. Oh, 30, sorry. We said 16. I was
Yeah,
like,
average of
wait,
6.
No. That seems all right.
Yeah, cool. And as you use stuff, you'll have opportunities to sort of replan as you find out more about things. Yeah.
Like conditional bonuses.
Yeah, and like once you've done a few rounds of stuff, you can make a if you think you've got it done enough, you've built up enough assets, you've defeated enough other elements, you get to make a run against the target.
Right. That seems alright.
Yeah,
I think one of the
I think
things,
that kind of makes sense.
if that basic thing has been sorted out, then I don't know if we want to talk about it now or like explicate it more later. But special abilities of the characters qua the character.
Yeah, I think we need those now. So I think each one of these abilities should have like one thing. You basically pick an ability, and that's your special.
Which can be
That's
pretty
it.
much anything, but it should be cool.
Yeah.
There's 21 characters, so there should be 21 abilities.
What? I was gonna go for them per stat rather than.
I like the idea of having a power qua the character you are.
But that means I have to write 21 abilities.
Yes, this is why I was confused earlier when you said let's use minor arcanas, and I was like, that's a bad idea.
Nah, I was gonna do them off the stats, so there's only 5.
Then it seems that a lot of the character cards you could use would be wasted.
I mean, they're just there as like your style, really. Like what you know.
I like the idea of making them more mechanical.
Yeah, mechanically, they're just kind of an I win, but the fluff wise, you can.
I suppose. I don't know. I like the idea of them, each of the things individually having a different skill. I know that's more complicated, and maybe we could do a simpler version for this, but if it was the ideal game, it would have a different
Yeah, I
ability
get
based
you.
on every
Yeah.
different arcana, because that would be more cool in my eyes. But I know we have to do this in a short period of time, so let's do simple version.
Yeah.
5 abilities.
So I'm
Yeah.
thinking there's like flamboyance should let you bigger explosions. So like 9s and 10s explode in a certain subset of dice.
You mean what do you mean by a certain subset?
Like maybe one roll or your dice that you put into one pool from flamboyance, or maybe just your flamboyance dice.
I think your flamboyance dice.
Yeah.
What do other people think?
So your flamboyance dice explode on 9s and 10s. Yeah.
Yep.
So it's like, yeah, your flamboyance dice explode on 9s and 10s. Adaptability means your adaptability dice don't count. You never count as weak.
Okay. Yep.
I think because weak's kind of that. Yeah. So your adaptability dice, nothing's weak against adaptability to you. So strong against adaptability. Sorry.
I'll say.
Yeah, it's like not debuffing the player. That'd be bad.
That would be terribly bad. Yeah. So you essentially ignore the.
Yeah, you pick it's somewhere in the game you pick a stat, and all your dice never count as weak against that stat. So sorry. I'm thinking of it. You're using the weaker thing, if you know what I mean. So if with these guards, they were strong against coordination. So I keep thinking of it as coordination is weak against them. I think that's probably the wording we should use, because it's always the player being the aggressor almost.
Yeah, so all the roles will be player led.
So when something is weak against them, sorry.
What's
when
that?
when something is weak against something, so in this case, coordination. The coordination is weak to the guards. There is a disadvantage to using coordination when attacking the guards. I presume does that come out as you need more successes to do this, or
Oh no, you lose the dice.
You lose the dice.
So what I'm thinking is, at some point in the game, you can name a stat. It doesn't have to be adaptability, and that stat is always fine to use. Nothing counts as good against it.
Okay, so so I could say, I don't know, my flashy dice are always usable.
Yeah, my flamboyance dice never take a penalty.
Yeah. But normally, when you're doing a disadvantage, what does that come out as?
Yeah.
Okay, so let's say those 2 abilities stick for now.
Right. I'm thinking with coordination, the idea of mixing different things in is that when you replan, you can change the type. You can change the type of the dice.
Okay.
So if you relocate dice off the guards, and they say they were like like suave dice. If you took your suave dice off the guards and put them into courtiers, you could turn them into eye for detail dice.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
In a way, yes.
So basically, you can change the dice type when relocating because you kind of replanned.
I was about to say when relocating.
Yeah.
You can't keep them in the same location. Okay,
Yeah.
well, we can play test that and see how that works.
Yeah.
Eye for detail.
I'm thinking eye for detail might like you can reveal something about one of the opponents before you play something.
Yep. Like either what they're weak against or what they're strong against.
Yeah, you can pick one. You can find out one of them.
Would we say something like? Because I'm thinking the possible things you could figure out are the thing it's weak against, the thing it's strong against, and the actual challenge rating.
I don't think you should be able to find the challenge rating directly.
Okay, just weak and strong.
Maybe you can give if you found out both what it's weak against and strong against, you can say a number and the GM will tell if it's higher or lower.
Okay, yep.
I don't like the idea of nailing down numbers for them on the player side. I think it takes a bit of interest out of the game. What do you other two think about that?
I don't think most of the section should be that long that it's a major thing where you're just left hanging how hard the thing is.
Yeah. So suave for suave, I'm thinking suave dice don't roll ones.
Just re-roll, or they just count as twos.
Well, yeah, because they're well. I suppose you just the quickest way is just to naturally nudge that number, so that number is always something else.
It's like a 2 or something.
So it's always
it's a fail, but it's never you never hand it to the enemy.
It's never a bot.
Because suave, they're so at home in the environment somehow that them flubbing just wouldn't be a thing.
Yeah. So we've got the info power for eye for detail, which you can use once per round. You got suave, where your suave dice don't roll ones. Flamboyance, where your 9s explode. You've got adaptability, where you can change your stat when relocating.
Hopefully, someone's making notes of these.
So you can, I'll come up. Like I think it's like change stat when you're relocating, and it's only one of the pools you relocate or something.
So is there any? What are we missing? Are we missing anything?
Just one for coordination. What did we go for? I've forgotten.
Coordination was, I think it was bringing stuff in from other stats or something.
Oh, like coordination was change your stat when relocating, wasn't it? Adaptability was some point in the game you can pick a stat and those dice never count as weak.
Yeah, that was it. Yeah, that's what that was.
Okay, that sounds good. Right. So I'm thinking that we've pretty much got a game there.
Yeah.
So do we just need this final showdown?
I think that's kind of we've definitely got it.
It's like a solid skeleton, at least.
Yeah, I think putting numbers on that. I think we should probably just have a sort of set number. The GM's got like 7 things that they can eye for detail on, right?
Yeah.
Sorry, not eye for detail. 7 minor arcana, or well, to be fair, they could be any tarot card, right?
Yeah, I think we said
The 7 face down cards, and they're drawn at random, but the GM gets to arrange them as they want. They get how many points to spend between them? Do you think? Shall we go for 35?
Yeah, let's go with that.
Well, the average PC is going to be swinging like 6 in each stat, so bringing 12 dice to each party, of which like about half count will be successes.
Mm-hmm.
So I think like 45 probably is about right.
Because they can be used a bit more.
You can give it a run.
Slightly.
The PCs do have some advantages, so
yeah. I'm guessing the default assumption is the PCs will win.
The default is, yeah.
But we don't want them to give them.
I mean, remember, you only get 1 run at the boss. Actually, I'm thinking a total of 50 points, but that includes the boss.
Yeah?
let's try 50, and if that doesn't work, we can drop it.
Yeah, you can always tweak it.
And on the boss, you'll have assets, but the boss will have assets as well.
And the boss, if you've been unlucky and rolled a shed load of ones,
He's going to have a lot of assets. I think that kind of works.
Okay.
yeah, it gives a good enough framework to test.
So yeah, we so for character creation, the rundown is largely you write down your stats, you pick a major arcana that's your style, and you pick a power, and you split those 30 points, did we say?
Yeah, because there's no.
Yeah, split those 30 points, come up with a name, a bit of a background, that kind of thing, why you're there. What I'm thinking is probably deal out arcana.
All right.
And then deal out a couple of extras, and you get to argue amongst yourselves what to pick.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Try it.
I mean, yeah. If it goes wrong, then we'll change it later. Awesome. Yeah. We might also want to do the. Ooh, that's an idea. So how about if there was, say, 3 players and 1 GM, we'd deal out 6 cards, 6 major arcana. The players give the GM 3 and keep 3 for themselves.
So they sort of have to think strategically, what will benefit them, but at the same time, are they giving themselves more an advantage or the GM?
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not sure exactly how that'll work, considering at current the cards themselves are just flavors.
They are just flavors, but they'll influence what things are strong and weak against.
True, yeah, I suppose.
Yeah.
Again, if it was the ideal version, they would have more of an impact because special abilities.
I think so, yeah.
I also like the idea of if we ever get into trouble, we'll always have the thought that we chose this. This is in at least part our fault.
Yeah, totally. I like that. There is risk. I mean, I'm kind of balancing the point so that you're possibly not going to get through everything, So we'll see. I think there's going to be quite a bit of betting, a bit of not working out when to use powers and stuff like that. That's good, when to replan, that kind of thing.
Yeah, you don't want to kind of burn out and throw all your resources away. There's more time to go to.
Oh yeah, we haven't worked out what the trump card does. Ace in the hole.
Oh yeah.
I mean, it could. I think when you play it, you get to re-roll a pull. What do people think?
Well, given it's just a once per game thing, isn't it? So
yeah, you describe how it comes into play. You re-roll all the failures in a pull or something.
I was going to say just re-roll only the dice you want, because otherwise,
you
just end up with something that's even worse.
Yeah. Okay, that's pretty cool. And I'd probably say you can't do it in the final fight.
Oh, just to give you an incentive to not just bank it until the end.
Yeah.
Can always be a problem with one.
True, yeah.
I mean, otherwise everyone would just we're just gonna take a run at the boss and just stack a load of dice on, and then just keep doing the grace.
Fair.
Yeah. Also, I think that outstanding things that are present in the final confrontation that you haven't dealt with, basically any numbers remaining on them will, go onto the boss's side.
Yeah.
It's not everything that's remaining, it's everything that's there and remaining. So I think trying to work out what the best order to deal with things in is also going to be important, which will be nice. Does that make sense?
So yeah, so it's kind of everything, as you say.
Cool. So yeah, I think we've got an outline of game. It should be pretty fun. Cool. So now the last question: who wants to GM?
Not it.
What's that? Not it. Was that?
Not it either.
Rock, paper, scissors.
I think Purple, as our fearless leader, you should GM.
Fine, I don't mind.
Yeah, to me, this system seems quick enough that you can do multiple DMs in a podcast.
I mean, I think we could do I think we're going to get 2 games.
So I think having you start because you understand most of it, and then have someone else go in.
That sounds good to me. Great. So next thing is each of you is going to name something you're looking forward to finding out about in the next session. I am genuinely just really looking forward to making this flamboyant, crazy nobles world. I really am. I think that's going to be a lot of fun. I'm going to make a few notes and things. Stuff I'd like to include. But the whole idea of the tarot cards mixing it up is going to be really interesting. So I'm looking forward to it.
Looking forward to seeing developing a sense for when to use which stats, like how players figure out what makes a situation best suave, what's best for flamboyance, and then how they react when maybe they might have misjudged it. So player judgment is what I'm most looking forward to.
Nice.
I'm interested to see how this mechanic works. I don't know. I'm a big fan of Phantom Thieves and heist anything, so I'm interested to see how it will come out in this version.
Yeah, cool.
Yeah, I'm just looking forward to seeing what absolutely fabulous, flamboyant space thief characters we end up creating.
So you're here for the role playing, are you, Chris?
And probably a whole lot of ham.
Whole load of what, sorry?
Ham. If no one goes full Brian Blessed in this, I'm going to be very disappointed.
If no one else does, I will. Oh wow.
We're going to be egging each other on, aren't we? This won't end well.
I think that is almost certain.
I'm just trying to imagine how to stat up Flash Gordon in this now.
Oh no.
We haven't named the game yet. What are we going to name it?
Oh, yeah.
Like something nice and short.
Uh,
Any ideas?
I have two ideas.
Go on.
First idea is Fashion Thieves.
Fashion Thieves.
Second is Paparazzi.
Paparazzi.
trying to think of something that captures the space.
Well, if we're going for something, ethereal sounding, Eternal Splendor.
Eternal Splendor.
Or Splendor of the Stars.
Ooh, I like that one.
Splendors of the Stars.
Yeah. Plus that sound, the reason I like that is it sounds like both an epic RPG and a really cheesy show that you would have watched with your parents in the 90s. Like after Blind Date.
Like schlock.
Splendor of the Stars. And it's like
Cilla Black.
Oh wow, that's beautiful. And with that image, I think we should say goodbye. So join us for the next exciting episode of Roll on the Adventure. Goodbye.
See ya.
Bye.